What is going on, everybody? Now, I don't usually do videos like this covering updates because, let's be real, you can go to the RuneScape page and read them yourself. However, Slayer is my favorite skill, and finally we have gotten some Slayer updates that I really think were worth the time. Now, you might think that they're a little small, but I'm basically just going to go through some of the Slayer updates in this past update from this week and pretty much save you the time of going through and reading the blog post about it. So these are the ones that I think are the most important, especially for players that really like to PVM and pet hunt. So let's get started. The first part of this week's Slayer update was a visual update to the Slayer helmets, and I think this was actually much needed. I myself like to collect all the Slayer helmets, and I almost have enough stuff to do all of them. Believe it or not, I actually don't have all the Slayer helmets. I'm still waiting on a few and need to get some points, but finally, they actually look kind of like the bosses that you get them from. And after the update, my favorite used to be the red helmet, but it is now the Scotizo helmet. I really like that purple Slayer helmet and what they did to it. Now, as far as the Slayer helms go, they used to all look the same. Like, they were literally just the same Slayer helmet with a different color, and it was really kind of boring. So, as for RuneScape graphics and how far that goes, I actually think they did a really good job updating the Slayer helmets this patch. The next update was a Slayer reward update, and I actually thought this was really cool that this actually got implemented. So if you didn't read the blog post, if you don't know about this, well, now you do. There is a new thing called task storage, and you have to buy it for 1,000 points. You can store one task at a time for 50 points. But the reason for this being is maybe you get a task that you might need some friends to do, but none of them are online. And a good example for this, actually, for me, is the Zamorak God Wars dungeon boss. I like to go there with a team. Could I solo it with my Twisted Bow? Absolutely, but it's kind of boring. I actually like going there with a team and hanging out for a while and getting some kills. So with this, for example, maybe I'm in the middle of my day, nobody else is on. I get a Greater Demon task from Duradel. Well, I can store that task in this task storage thing, and then when my friends get online later, we can set up a trip and I can go do that Slayer task later. And it only costs 50 points per task, which really isn't bad depending on what you're trying to do. Now, there's a multitude of things you could use this for. Maybe you just don't have time to do that Hydra task that you just got. Well, you can store it, come back to it later, and all of your dreams can come true with all of those Hydra pets and claws. Next up, there has been some good quality of life updates for some of the bosses that you can get through doing Slayer. And the first one I'm going to start out with is Zorra. Now, obviously, Zorra is not worth the money that it used to be. Zorra profit per hour has come way down, and it's been out for a while. And plus, the range nerf really didn't help it out with needing the Tanzanite Fang for the blowpipe. But the good thing is, instead of choosing only, it was like 10 or 15 or something Zorra kills if you do get assigned that as a task, Jagex has upped that to be in line with the other Slayer boss tasks. You can now choose between 3 and 35 Zorra bosses for the associated Slayer task. And it's really nice because I always do the maximum of Zorra kills when I get that task. So doing 35 of them really doesn't seem like that much of a waste of time anymore. I can actually spend some time there. 35 kills roughly takes me probably between an hour and a half, so it's a little bit more time there. Additionally, and I've been waiting for this for a really long time, they have added a right-click option to board the Zorra boat, which is incredibly nice because who wants to go through that dialogue about talking to go to the island every time? A lot of other bosses have quick start options like the Grotesque Guardians. So finally, Zorra has that. You can just get right on the boat and cruise over to the island. It's going to save you probably a minute or so, an hour, maybe more. I don't know. But that minute could mean a lot. It could be an extra kill per hour, upping your profit just a little bit. Next up is the Alchemical Hydra, and this update was 110% needed. It was 120, 200, 1,000% needed. The Alchemical Hydra was literally known as the old school RuneScape counting to 3 simulator. Now there has been an update that there will be an animation that signals when the attack style is changing. And that is absolutely fantastic. I have 3,700 Hydra kills or so myself, and just I can, counting to 3, all of those 3,700 kills over and over. It was just mind-numbing. I got to a point where I could only do like 2 hours of Hydra max, but now You don't have to count to 3 anymore. You can actually just watch for the animation, and then you know that the attack style is going to change. And I cannot tell you how lucky all of you players are that you don't have to count to 3 if you've never killed the Hydra. You can now go in there, watch for that attack style, and that's it. All of you guys that are in my boat that have killed thousands of Hydra before this, I feel cheated. And you should too. I demand reparations for my mental instability from counting to 3 thousands of times. I will take my payment due in the style of 1 max cash stack. Thank you, Jagex. Next up is the Abyssal Sire. In the Abyssal Sire update here, you are actually going to get experience for killing the respirators to the Abyssal Sire. The Abyssal Sire respirators now give 50 Slayer experience for each respirator killed, so that's an extra 200 XP per kill, and it is a maximum of 4 during one encounter, obviously because there are only 4 respirating systems for the Abyssal Sire, but regardless, that's an extra 200 XP per kill. Now, the Sire loot really isn't that bad. I mean, it's not that bad. All right, maybe it's kind of bad, but at least you're getting a little bit more experience per hour now by killing the Sire, because even if you're really good at the Abyssal Sire, you're still only getting like maybe 25, maybe 30, depending on how you're doing. If you're using another account to spec transfer and, you know, using the alt for all that, I would say average player is getting somewhere between 22 and 25 kills per hour for the Abyssal Sire, so that extra Slayer XP for that really helps kind of push that task along. The next update is an update for the Kraken boss, and I also feel cheated for this one because now the Kraken boss can be awoken using fishing explosives. All you have to do is chuck one. You chuck one fishing explosive and the Kraken wakes up. All these kills that we have all done before this, where we have to shoot each tentacle 1 time, that's 4 times, making the kill take a little bit longer. So as of right now with the Sanguinesti staff, you can get a ton of kills per hour. So with this fishing explosive update, that just goes up a little bit more because you don't have to take that time to wake up all 4 tentacles. And the fishing explosives, they're pretty cheap actually. You can get them from Slayer Masters and they start at 60 GP. Obviously the price goes up from there the more you buy, but regardless, well worth the price to save the time of shooting all of those tentacles 4 times and then starting your kill. Instantly wake up the Kraken with a fishing explosive. Very nice update, Jagex. And the last important update, I think, in this Slayer patch is going to be for the Grotesque Guardians. This one's really good with the range nerf recently. Now with the range nerf, the BP, the Toxic Blowpipe, it is still the meta if you're using Dragon or Amethyst darts. Now, I know not everybody can afford that. Dragon darts is all I use, but I'm an established player. I've worked for a very nice bank, and I understand a lot of people can't afford that, but you're still looking at pretty close to the same conversion rate on skipping the orbs with Dragon darts as you were before the Blowpipe nerf. But regardless, the Grotesque Guardian energy spheres no longer deal damage when you absorb them, which is really nice because based on the time that it took you to pick those up, you took increasingly more damage. So all in all, it extends your trip because you don't have to use as much supplies to keep your HP up, assuming you're a player that can't use Amethyst or Dragon darts because you can't afford them. So your trips are extending with that. And in phase 2 of the Grotesque Guardians fight, you will now see an indicator where the rocks are going to land, which before it was actually kind of annoying. Like you could kind of tell where they were coming down depending on what you were looking at or what you were focusing on, but it is much clearer now. So take that as you will. But all in all, I think the Slayer boss updates for this patch were actually really good and much needed for the Slayer skill. Now, I didn't cover every aspect of this Slayer update in here. There are a few more minor updates, or at least what I consider minor. I just tried to get the big ones that I feel like you guys should absolutely know about. So maybe the next time you go in there, you're not like, what's going on? Why is this? Especially the Kraken one. That one's really useful, guys. So if you want to read the whole blog post on the Slayer update, I have left a link to it in the description below, so you can check that out. As usual, everybody, thank you for watching this video. I'm actually really excited about all these updates. Like I said, Slayer is my favorite skill, and I'm almost at like 40 million Slayer XP or something like that, so I'm just a nerd. I'm just a Slayer nerd. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't done so yet, tap that subscribe button on the way out. I will see you all on the next one. Take it easy, everybody.